Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing the season finale of Survivor Season 39, which is Island of the Idols. Of course, this is one of the most controversial finales in the history of the show, in the almost 20-year history of the show. And I'm going to get into that, of course, in a minute. It has to do with the Dan and Kelly situation. I'm going to get into more details in a minute. Of course, I'm going to give away something that most people probably know already. That Tommy won the $1 million in the title of Sole Survivor for Season 39. Of course, Island of the Idols, before I get into the whole Dean Kelly thing, has to do with a contestant gets picked to go to the Island of the Idols, and it has to be, and the Idols is not actually the Immunity Idol, but two former players named Boston Rob. Of course, been on like 4 times. It's going to be on the 5th time. As we're going to get to the end of the video. And Sandra was the only two-time Survivor winner, which of course that streak is going to be broken in the next season. It's going to get into maybe hopefully at the end of this video. Of course, the big situation in this particular season was the Dean Kelly thing. Of course, but before I get into that, the actual final episode, I felt, ran way too long. I mean, it used to be when the season finale used to be like 2 hours, maybe 2 hours or 5 minutes, maybe 2 hours and 10 minutes at most, and then you have 50 minutes of a live reunion show, and you get to more updates of the people who are voted out early, what they're doing now, they've been recognized, yada yada, all that type of questioning gets asked. Especially the people who were voted out early. They got Jeff Probst, who I think if they got the last 15, 16 years, they'll be doing the reunion show, and he gets an update on some of the people who voted out earlier, or people who were not on the jury. He asks them, especially if some crap happens with the people who were voted out early, some infamous moment, and they talk about that stuff. Which naturally don't do it because you only have maybe about 35 minutes. You know, 35 minutes of the reunion part. Which I should mention that the whole, not only of course obviously the show that's on the part of Survivor that was on the island in Fiji, that's used of course its own tape, but stuff that was in the CBS studios in Hollywood where they have the reunion show and they reward the check to whoever is crowned the winner. That stuff is live. Or when Jeff Probst reads the votes, that's what's live. This time, the entire thing was taped and recorded, and it's because of the Dan and Kelly thing, which we're going to get into in this video as well. I know it's probably going to be a long video, folks. I can see it coming already. As the show itself, as the finale itself, I didn't think it was that bad, and I'm surprised that nobody's brought up the dance situation on the tapes, on the stuff that happened in Fiji. I'm surprised no one's talked about it, and I said, oh, how come it was removed? I know if it was actually did discuss it was filmed, but regardless, it was not put into the final edit of the show. And besides that, it was constantly breaking in, or CBS News was breaking into the show, because it was also the night when they had the impeachment vote against President Trump. So you had, the drama that was going on Survivor, especially with the Dean Kelly situation, plus the actual drama in Washington D.C. going on the same night. So it's kind of kind of crazy all the way around. So what was happening was Noah was the last person won the immunity. And of course, you had the final 3 with Tommy, Dean, and Noah. And this is what I don't like about when Survivor does the final 3 segment, which I think they should get rid of. They should go back to just the final 2, in my opinion. Because you always, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have somebody who, one of the 3, not get any votes. And that's what happened with Noah. She didn't get any votes at all in the final tribal council because she was crazy. Nobody liked her, but she happened to survive, excuse the pun, survive to the final tribal council, and nobody liked her because she was crazy, and I know, it's because it's maybe sort of personality, I guess, more than anything else. Well, nowadays you probably call him, I'm sorry to say, bipolar nowadays, but now, when I was a kid, I was told that the person like too hyper or it's a personality, she's like a wacky personality, which is what she really is. She just has a wacky personality, and she didn't get any votes at all. Dean got like 2 votes, and Tommy got the other 8 because there was like 10 people on the jury. Well, it should have been 11, but as we know, with Dan's situation, he got thrown off, which I previously talked about in the previous video. Now I want to get into the crux, which is the Dan Kelly thing. Of course, there were 2 contests when the whole Dean, excuse me, I mentioned the Dan and Kelly thing. I mentioned in my previous video that I did a week ago, and I said, look, what the women. The only one that really supported Kelly was Janet. And there was 2 women in particular who said, yeah, Dan touched me too, kept touching me too. But the problem was that they decided to vote out Kelly instead of Dan. And he said, hey, if this stuff is going on, maybe we should vote out Dan now because we're going to keep doing it. And there were clips that were shown on Survivor with Dan, not only was he groping, I want to say groping, but constantly touching Kelly, pushing her hair back like this, touching her face with the hair. Missy, Dan grabbed Missy's leg at one point, and he was also doing the same thing to Elizabeth. So there's the 3 of them, and they talked with Janet and said, that's all, the 4 of us, let's get together and vote Dan out. Because he's going to keep doing this unless we physically vote him out. And so instead of voting out Dan, who has been doing this, they blame the victim, and because they think that Kelly would get more sympathy for being groped by Dan, and so they decided to blame the victim and vote the victim out, which is so wrong. Like I said in my other video, so wrong on every single level. So Missy and Elizabeth in particular, 2 of them, who also said they were groped by Dan, but decided to not vote him out right then and there when Kelly made her initial, complaint, and when the producers of Survivor talked to the contestants and said, if this happens again, if you violate a person's personal space, you're going to get kicked out of here. But instead of voting out Kelly, instead of voting out Dan, they voted out Kelly, and Missy and Elizabeth were getting blasted all over social media, like Twitter and Facebook and wherever else, on YouTube videos, and rightly, in my opinion, rightly so. I haven't seen all those comments, to tell you the truth, on Twitter, because I very rarely go on Twitter. So I'd be lucky to go on Twitter once a month. I mean, that's how much I don't go in there. And so whatever crap they get. I mean, if somebody's making over the top like death threats or something, that's like crossing a line, or threatening to beat them up, or threatening to grope them like Dan was groping Kelly. To me, that's like over the top type stuff. They said those comments actually happened. I don't know. I haven't seen them, but Elizabeth and Missy do deserve to get a lot of crap because they did not support Kelly. They deserve it. They deserve all kinds of crap. And like I said earlier, the reunion show port was physically taped, and because of all the Dan stuff, and Dan was banned from being in the reunion show, and Elizabeth and there was 2 others who did not show up. Jack, for some reason, Jack didn't show up. I don't know why. And Elizabeth, and rightly so, decided not to be there probably because of all the crap that she was getting on social media. She decided not to be there in the reunion. So those were the ones when Dan, you knew ahead of time it was not going to be at the reunion show. But for Elizabeth and Jack not to be there, it's like I said, I don't know why Jack wasn't there, but Elizabeth wasn't there because of the crap she was getting on social media, because of, and rightly so, I might add, because of what happened with her not supporting Kelly and voting her out instead of voting Dan out, which in every possible sense of the word was the right thing to do. And anyway, we had the reunion show, which I mentioned earlier, tape, and they had about maybe a 5 or 6 minute segment with Jeff Probst sitting with Kelly, the two of them 1-on-1, talking about, of course, the incident and talking about what had happened. And Kelly, because it was the first time that Kelly was able to mention anything. I know the last week she mentioned that she was glad, or the episode previously, she wrote on Twitter that she was glad that CBS came in, or the producer of Survivor came in and removed Dan. But unfortunately, it was too little, too late. For her and the other women contestants on Survivor, which I think it's right for her to say so, because they should have kicked Dan out right then and knowing if the producers of Survivor did not kick him out right then and then when Kelly made the complaint, then the other contestants should have voted Dan out. And I kind of paraphrasing what she said, especially the last part where I meant the sentence I just made, that they should have voted Dan out if they weren't going to remove him. Which I feel that Kelly should have said that. That should have blasted her fellow castaways for not voting out Dan out at the time. They voted her out instead of Dan out, which was a wrong. On one hand, you can understand because maybe a stronger player or tougher to beat Kelly in the final tribal council than Dan is. But regardless, they still have voted Dan out. And that was an excuse that Missy, Elizabeth, and other players were using because they figured since this thing blew up, and this whole story blew up in everybody's face, they figured that, hey, maybe Dan would be easier to beat in the final 3. That's why they didn't vote him out. The reason why Dan was removed was because after the tribal council, or the last tribal council, I should say the last immunity challenge, before the final episode, what they do is they transport the contestants to the challenge area, the immunity challenge area, where they built the set. For the immunity challenge, the structures, whatever they have to do to build the immunity for the immunity challenge, wherever they're going to do for the challenge, whether it's a puzzle or standing holding up balls over your head, or staying in place on a small platform, or in a strange position with a bucket over your head, or whatever they do for the immunity challenge, and they put the contestants on a boat and they transport them from that particular beach or the camp to the immunity challenge area, and then when the challenge is over, they transport them back on a boat back to the tribal beach. And on the boat, Dan groped a producer, one of the Survivor producers. And of course, after the previous incident with Kelly, when she complained about this producer, of course, there's no actual footage of this, because they don't actually film them going back to the beach on the boats. They see walk back to the beach or walk off the beach to the immunity challenge or whatever. They show that. They don't show them on the boat going to the challenges and back on the boat back to the camp. They don't really show that, except for maybe on the first day when they were on the boat going to the camps. That's all when they have the tribe merge. That they show, but going to the challenges on the boat, they don't show that stuff. But so they didn't film the actual incident with Dan, and said that he groped him. The story is he groped a producer or inappropriately touched one of the producers, and of course made a complaint over it, and that's why Dan was removed. And so Kelly wanted to know or asked why in hell it took so long to remove this guy, because Dan has been touching the women on the show since day one. And it blew up when I had the blow up. When she had the blow up and complained about it, that's when they should remove it, because they had the footage through the whole thing, because they filmed in 24 when they're on the tribal, with the shelters and everything. They constantly film it 24/7, and they see what Dan is doing. And the problem is they never said, "Hey, why are you touching on the women?" And the problem is, like I mentioned in the previous video, you always see contestants snuggling up to each other, and particularly at night and or when it's raining, because because they very very low if any clothing. The contestants in general, so they snuggle over with each other for body heat, and so, but Dan, it wasn't just doing that; it was groping, touching people, violating the personal spaces of Kelly and other women. Now, when he was sleeping, he actually grabbed Missy by the leg when he was lying on the floor, and Missy is standing up and grabs her leg, and she doesn't say anything. And she just said, "Get the F off my leg." I mean, if somebody did that to me, I would have kicked them. I would have kicked the person. I said, "Get the blank off me." But that stuff never happened. And so Kelly did this whole thing, and surprised, at least Kelly had a little bit of class and didn't blast Missy and Elizabeth for not voting him, or the other contestants for not voting out Dan. If it was me, I would have blasted all of them for not voting off Dan right then and there. That's what they should have done, but they were more concerned of maybe winning the $1 million and see who was easier to beat. For them, who was easier to beat than doing the right thing and voting the guy out. That's what they should have done. But over the years on Survivor, they should mention there's two famous incidents on Survivor. I think those clips were up on YouTube about how they voted out someone out right then and there. One was Brandon Hantz, the nephew of Russell Hantz, who had a complete and utter meltdown just before a challenge. It was like fans versus favorites. One of the seasons when you had the fans versus favorites, and Brandon Hantz returned, and he got so much crap for being on the first time. They wanted to change the attitude of the Hantz family name or clear the name, saying that he's not as bad as his uncle was, or that type of thing. And he got in a fight with the guy who used to be an FBI agent. I forgot his name, but they had a huge fight, and Jeff grabbed him and did the weird thing of massaging Brandon's shoulders. But what they did right then and there was have a vote and voted out, Brandon right then and there. Right on the beach without, torches out and stuff like that. The other incident which came up before then, I think it was like the first time we had a bunch of return. It was like the Survivor All-Stars. When you had like 20 players and you had the original, first and only time that you're going to have Richard Hatch returns to the show because of the suing with not paying the taxes on the winnings. Because he was the first winner of Survivor back in 2000, and he didn't pay the income tax on it, so he actually went to jail for that. And he was suing CBS. I think they had a whole big rigmarole. The CBS said they would want to pay the taxes. And no, you don't have to pay the taxes. We just give you the check, and you have to take care of the taxes yourself. And so he was big McGilla. Anyway, when he was on Survivor the second time on the Survivor All-Stars show, he rubbed himself because he did everything naked. On that season, because he was famous for doing a couple of naked scenes in the original season of Survivor. Not everything naked, but some things. But when he was on the show the second time, every time they had a challenge, he would take his shorts off, and he was naked, or a swimsuit off. It would be totally naked. And actually on the show, they would usually blow out his private parts. And there was one particular challenge where they were walking on his beam, and he rubbed himself against Sue Hawk. And that episode, Richard Hatch was voted out because they bluffed him, and they voted him out, which was the right thing. Even though most of them probably did not see it. Most of them said they didn't see it. And I think the guy who was with of the Australian Outback show, who was with I forgot her name. I think the one who like lost to the winner of that season. I actually saw Richard Hatch rub himself against Sue Hawk. He actually did admit seeing it, and they're trying to convince Sue to stay on, even though Richard got voted out. And so it doesn't change your mind, and Jeff Probst says it doesn't change your mind if you that Richard Hatch got voted out. And said no, it doesn't change my mind at all. I'm out and quit. So those were the other two famous incidents. And those were the other sexually harassment incident you could really say compared to when the Brendan Hatch stuff. That wasn't sexual harassment, but that happened there. But the only thing you could tell was sexual harassment was what happened with Sue Hawk and Richard Hatch in the Survivor All-Stars. I think those clips are all on YouTube. Then you can compare it to. But I know going along is over 20 minutes, 21 minutes actually in this video. But I'm glad that they did talk about it, but I feel that, I think it's because Kelly has a little bit of class, has some class in her, that she didn't blast the other contestants not voting out Dan. I felt that she showed, I felt, I can understand why her not doing it, because she has class. I feel that she's a classy lady, and she went through a tough thing on the show, or a tough situation. But I felt that if she wanted to really get all that venom out of her system, I felt that she should have blasted all the contestants, not like CBS, and she did say, I hope this does change from now on, and something that's happened again. And Jeff Probst says, yes, things are going to be changing. But unfortunately, you have to take something like this to change this. For Kelly to make a whole big stink over it, and rightly so, for them to do changes on this situation. But like I said, if it was me, it would have blasted all the people. At the time, it would have blasted the producers of Survivor, CBS, plus the other contestants. First it would have blasted CBS and Survivor for not removing Dan at the time, and then we'll blast all the contestants not voting out Dan. And that's what I would have done. But naturally, I'm not Kelly, and we're never in that situation to begin with. So, but I do have respect for Kelly. I did support in the video. I do support, but I felt that she should have blasted him for it. And I know going along in this video here, I know it's not over half an hour, but it's long enough. But I felt that the final show, it was better. Could have been a little bit better if it was live. If Elizabeth was there to be confronted. I felt that her and Missy, those two in particular, should have been confronted. And they should have, all as a group, whoever survivors had to meet, and talk to them as a group. And instead of, I did like the one-on-one segment. But I felt that, all of them should talk to the whole group. After, and they should do the one-on-one first with Kelly, and then talk to everyone about it. I thought that's how they should have done it. And of course, I should mention that Survivor 40, the big 4-0 for Survivor for the 20th year as well. They're going to do a Survivor Winners at War. When they're going to bring back, I think they're going to bring back about at least 20 winners, previous winners of Survivor, back against each other. And like I said, we're going to have Boston and Rob back playing again. I think it's going to be like the 5th time. It's going to be like a record. How many times he played? You're going to have Sandra back. I think it's going to be a 4th time playing. Plus, you're going to have the guy who won Survivor Africa back. And I don't know how many others. And I think Richard Hatch is definitely not going to come back. But you're going to have, I think you're going to have about like 20 winners, former Survivor winners back on the show. Which I think will be a good thing. And because one of my ideas I always have for Survivor is I'd like to see tribal winners one tribe consisting of all Survivor winners versus a tribe of players who get voted out first. That I like to see. So it's kind of like this kind of a variation of my idea. They have one tribe of Survivor winners versus one tribe of Survivor losers. Either people who either voted out first or maybe finished second. Either one. That I would like to see Survivor do after this season. The next coming season is going to be starting like in February, I think. But I can't believe it's been 25 minutes on this video. So this is my. So I am looking forward to the next season with all the Survivor winners because I'd like to see some, like Boston Rob back on again, or some of the other earlier winners back on the show, or Ethan. I think it's going to be the third time for Ethan playing at least. Or players who played once on Survivor and won. I'd like to see them come back, especially those who only played Survivor once. I'd like to see them back on the show. And that's what's going to happen. So this is my review of the season finale of Survivor Season 39, Island of the Idols. Please click on the video, please subscribe to my channel, please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews and on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com, that's OWDY, and then C.com. Homepage and Rally Reviewer, Chris Lee Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.